full name is Jack Steele. That's because I was born 6 weeks after Pearl Harbor. And at the time, you know, you had last name, first name, then middle name or middle initial. Well, they didn't have enough paper, so to save paper, they cut that a little bit off. So I have no middle initial or middle name. Well, my education basically was in Greencastle, Indiana. I was basically went there till 10th grade in Hunt, from K to 10, and then I went away for 2 years to Culver Military Academy, graduated from there, and then went to DePaul University where I was a chemistry major. After 4 years, I got my degree and then ended up at the University of Kentucky, was there for 4 years, skipped master's level and met my wife, and then that was an education too. And then we got on to Pullman, Washington State University, where I did a postdoctoral. That would be the same thing as an MD doing a residency. I'll tell you, I've been trying to think of a good answer for what drew me to chemistry. I ended up with a person, or a professor named John Ricketts, and he was so excited about the field that he kind of drew me in. And when, after the PhD, I went on to the postdoc, and basically a postdoc is kind of a requirement for somebody going into the academic area. So that's basically how I ended up where I did. There was nothing outstanding that made me want to go this way. I just kind of like fell into it, liked what I was doing, and wanted to continue with it. And what I discovered was the more questions that were answered, the more questions that popped up that needed to be also solved. And my biggest achievement that I'm most proud of, I think, was starting a section of the American Chemical Society down here, because the only place that we had originally was you had to drive 175 miles to Atlanta. And about 4 or 5 years later, our section was the best section in the country. So I had, once I got started, I had a lot of people that had a lot of energy, that were very interested in this. And basically, all I did is I started the thing, and then I stepped back and let them go their own way. And they did quite well. We're still in operation. Personal achievements. All right, one thing that basically kind of kept me here in Albany was the fact that Albany State was a historically black college and university. And so I basically got in here, and I figured I'd be here for a couple of years and then I'd get up. And all of a sudden, I discovered that I had some really, really bright students, and I said, by God, I'm going to stick around here, and I'm going to make sure that they can compete with any other student in our country. that was a great deal of fun, and the most fun I had was the pathophysiology course, which was nursing, and it was taught by three of us. Bruce Ford, biologist, J. Steele, chemist, and Gene Walker, nursing. So basically, we approached the problem from three different sides. And so you get different, if you get different viewpoints on something, sometimes one particular approach will work, but it won't, but it doesn't do what you want, so you go to another approach, and that works. My personal inspiration actually was Don Sands and Joe Wilson and Don Williams. Now, when I got down here, I wanted to start a course in clinical chemistry, which basically is what they do in the hospital labs. And so I got together, I taught the courses, and we had a couple of graduates, and the Board of Regents cut us because I don't think we had a high enough enrollment. So that's it. This particular legacy of this particular, I want to leave this basically for whoever comes after me is, gee, what did your grandfather do, or something on this order? And here you're going to have a more or less a shortened bio of what I have done and why I have done it. The message I would like to leave to my grandchildren, and I would like to leave this to anybody else: take your job seriously. Do your best at it, but do not take yourself seriously, because stuffed shirts, and those are the people that are, I'm not quite sure how to describe it. They are basically full of themselves, and to me, that's a complete turn-off. If you are kind of light-hearted, do your job, do it real good, do your best, always do your best. There are times that you are going to fail. Blame that on Murphy. We have a law. It is called Murphy's Law, which says simply, if something can go wrong, it will. And that's Murphy's Law. And you are always going to run into it, because Mr. Murphy is looking out for you. Not in a good way, though. I think that was like to leave that thought in mind. How would I like to be remembered? That is, he did his job. Our second way would be, he taught and I learned.